Hello, welcome to the Education Matrix channel, where we talk about exotic currencies, mostly the IQD. Today's video is extremely important because Iraq is in trouble with the U.S. Treasury Department. And after you watch this video, you will understand why Iraq has made the decisions that it has made. You may also be upset about your own personal finances being recorded.
Right, let's talk about something incredibly important that you've probably never thought about: bank transfers. You know, when you send money to your cousin to pay for your half of that disastrous glamping trip, how does that money actually get there? Magic? A series of tiny, well-dressed hamsters running on wheels? No, it's often thanks to something called SWIFT. Now, SWIFT, which stands for the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication, a name so boring it sounds like it was designed to make you fall asleep, is basically the text messaging service for banks. It doesn't actually move your money, much like a text doesn't teleport your friend to your house. Instead, it sends the instructions, "Hey Bank B, our guy just sent $50 to your guy, make sure he gets it." It's the essential, unseen plumbing of the global financial system. You might think SWIFT is just for grand international deals like a French company buying a Japanese tech firm, and you'd be right, but that's not all. It's so fundamental that even many domestic transfers in the United States end up using SWIFT messages to zip between banks. It's the standardized language that allows over 11,000 financial institutions across the globe to talk to each other without getting their wires crossed. Think of it as the financial world's Esperanto, only this one actually works. This system creates a secure and, more importantly, a traceable record for every single transaction. Every dollar, every euro, every yen sent through this network leaves a digital footprint, which sounds great for accountability. But, as with any system that watches everything, it also brings up some rather significant questions about privacy. The fact that SWIFT creates a comprehensive log of financial flows is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a powerful tool for catching criminals, tracking terrorist financing, and preventing money laundering. Regulators love it because it provides a clear, transparent trail of where money is going. If someone is trying to fund a nefarious plot by buying 10,000 rubber chickens, SWIFT is supposed to help authorities see that weirdly specific transaction. It's a system built on the idea that transparency is the best disinfectant. It ensures that when money moves, someone, somewhere has a record of it, which is reassuring when you want to stop bad actors from moving illicit funds around the globe with impunity. However, on the other hand, this level of surveillance can feel a bit much. In an age where our every click and search is monitored, the idea that our financial transactions are also being meticulously logged can be unsettling. For a regular person, it might not seem like a big deal. Who cares if a government agency knows you bought too much ice cream last week? But for a country, especially one with a history of being under a microscope, giving an outside entity a complete map of its entire financial system is a massive concession. This isn't just about individual privacy, it's about national sovereignty and the potential for this incredibly detailed data to be used for more than just stopping crime. Now this is where things get spicy. Because SWIFT isn't just a neutral messaging system for bankers in gray suits, oh no. Because it is so central to global finance, controlling access to it is an immense source of political power. Being part of the SWIFT network is like having a key to the global economy, and if someone can take that key away, they can effectively lock you out. Western powers, particularly the United States and Europe, have realized this and have started using exclusion from SWIFT as a massive economic weapon, a sanction so powerful it can cripple a nation's economy without firing a single shot. It's the financial equivalent of being kicked out of the group chat, but instead of missing memes, you miss out on billions of dollars in trade. The most prominent recent example of this is Russia. Following its invasion of Ukraine in 2022, several major Russian banks were swiftly disconnected from SWIFT. The impact was immediate and devastating. It became incredibly difficult for Russia to receive payments for its oil and gas exports, or to pay for imports. Imagine trying to run a multinational business where you can't easily send or receive money internationally. It's basically impossible. A similar tactic was used against Iranian banks in 2018, severely limiting their ability to participate in international finance. This demonstrates that SWIFT is far more than a technical utility. It's a geopolitical lever that can be pulled to exert immense pressure on countries that fall out of favor with the West. This ability to weaponize the financial system has not gone unnoticed by the rest of the world. Countries are now acutely aware that their access to the global economy is conditional. If their political interests diverge too far from those of the nations that hold sway over SWIFT, they risk being financially isolated. This has led to a growing unease and a search for alternatives. For instance, in response to their shared predicament, Russia and Iran have been working on their own little bypass system, linking their domestic banking networks to conduct trade without touching the United States dollar or the SWIFT network. They're essentially trying to build their own, smaller, more exclusive group chat where they make the rules. This creates a fascinating dynamic. On one side, you have the established, Western-dominated system that offers unparalleled access to the global market but comes with strings attached, namely, political alignment and total transparency. On the other side, you have emerging alternative networks created by sanctioned states trying to build a parallel financial universe free from Western oversight. These fledgling systems are nowhere near as effective or comprehensive as SWIFT, but their very existence signals a significant shift. It's a clear message that not everyone is comfortable with a single entity holding the keys to the entire financial kingdom, especially when those keys can be used to lock the gates at a moment's notice. And that brings us to Iraq. Now, officially, Iraq is a member of SWIFT. They have a membership card and everything. But in practice, their adoption has been, let's say, selective. Many of the country's banks have been incredibly slow to get on board, preferring to stick with older, more opaque methods of moving money, including cash-based systems and informal networks. It's like being given a brand new smartphone but choosing to communicate exclusively through carrier pigeon because you don't want anyone reading your texts. This reluctance isn't just about being slow to adopt new technology, it's rooted in a deep-seated apprehension about what full SWIFT implementation would actually mean for the country. One of the primary reasons for this hesitation is a profound concern over privacy and sovereignty. Iraq's financial system has traditionally operated with a level of discretion that is fundamentally incompatible with the kind of radical transparency SWIFT demands. Full adoption would mean laying bare the country's entire financial nervous system for international and particularly American scrutiny. For a nation with a complex political landscape and a recent history of foreign intervention, handing over that level of insight feels like a massive surrender of control. They've seen what happens when a country gets on the wrong side of the powers that oversee SWIFT, and they are understandably wary of giving them that much leverage. The other major factor is, of course, politics. Iraq is caught in a geopolitical tug-of-war, particularly between its close ties to the United States and its relationship with neighboring Iran. The United States is pushing hard for Iraq to fully adopt SWIFT to clamp down on sanctions evasion and illicit financial flows that might be benefiting Iran and other sanctioned groups. The United States Treasury has been very clear: get your banks in line or face the consequences. They see Iraq's incomplete SWIFT usage as a gaping loophole that undermines their entire sanctions regime in the region, and they are losing patience. This puts Iraq in an incredibly difficult position, trying to appease a powerful ally without completely alienating a powerful neighbor. This isn't just an abstract political debate, it has real-world implications for Iraq's economy. The government has been trying to push a domestic digital payment agenda, but it's been a tough sell. The Iraqi public has low trust in banks, a deeply entrenched cash culture, and concerns about high fees and security. While digital transactions are growing, the transition is slow and painful. The hesitation to fully embrace SWIFT at the highest levels trickles down, reinforcing public skepticism about formal banking. Iraq is essentially trying to modernize its domestic economy while simultaneously resisting the main tool of global financial modernization, creating a contradictory and challenging path forward. So, what happens if Iraq continues to drag its feet? The risks are substantial. The United States has not been subtle about its intentions. Since mid-2023, Washington has intensified its pressure, warning Iraq of potential financial penalties. This could include sanctioning Iraqi banks that are deemed non-compliant, which would severely restrict their ability to conduct business internationally. This would not only affect the specific banks but could also damage the reputation of Iraq's entire financial sector, making it harder for the country to attract foreign investment and integrate into the global economy. It's a classic case of being stuck between a rock and a hard place, or more accurately, between a sanction and a hard place. The United States' concern is not without merit, from their perspective. They believe that the lack of transparency in Iraq's banking system is being exploited. As of early 2025, the United States Treasury, under Secretary Scott Bessent, has been ramping up efforts to choke off Iranian oil revenue, and they see financial networks in places like Iraq as a key facilitator of sanctions evasion. They point to data showing Iran managing to increase oil exports to certain countries as evidence that the current measures aren't working, which only increases their motivation to plug every possible hole. For the United States, Iraq's full, swift adoption is a critical piece of a much larger geopolitical puzzle aimed at containing Iran's economic influence. Ultimately, Iraq faces a difficult choice with no easy answers. If it fully embraces SWIFT, it gains greater legitimacy in the international financial community and appeases the United States. But it also opens itself up to unprecedented levels of foreign surveillance and potentially angers powerful domestic factions and neighboring Iran. It would be ceding a significant degree of its financial sovereignty in exchange for a seat at the global table. The fear is that this seat could come with an eject button that someone else controls, a fear that is not unfounded given the recent history of SWIFT sanctions against other nations. If Iraq resists, it risks becoming a financial pariah, facing United States sanctions and further isolation from the global economy. This could stifle its economic development and make its post-conflict recovery even more challenging. The situation perfectly encapsulates the modern dilemma facing many nations: how to balance the need for global integration with the desire for national sovereignty in an interconnected world where financial systems have become instruments of state power. Iraq's hesitation isn't just about privacy or politics, it's about navigating its future in a world where every single bank transfer can be a political statement.